first thing I look at when I look at a house, I look at the windows, I look at the roof, and I look at the structure around it. I look at the foundations. The foundation cracking? Is the house sinking over here? Is there any cracks in the foundation? And then for me, of course, you want to go in and look at the cosmetics, right? It got to look good. I mean, of course, you're going to add your own flavor, but nice floors are pretty good. Floors, you can really change that. But for me, the next thing I will look at is the function, the mechanics, right? The electrical, the plumbing, the HVAC system, right? Because those can cost a lot of money. You can slap some paint on the walls and make it look better, but putting a whole new HVAC system in could be costly. Putting a whole new AC condenser could be costly. So I would look to see if I had a new electrical breaker. Is the plumbing updated? Is it copper or is it galvanized piping? Is it the PEX? Because if you go in and look at the plumbing, right, and you got the galvanized plumbing in, more than likely that's going, you're gonna have to change it out eventually.
For everyone that's jumping on for the first time, is that what do you like to be called? Because I know your Instagram name is different from your government name. So what do your friends call you?
My friends call me DB.
DB.
Yep, DB.
DB. All right, DB. Yep. Then we're gonna go with DB. So DB, just recapping, went to school for mechanical engineer.
Yes, sir.
Graduated with mechanical engineer. And do you work in the field right now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this is not, so what I want people to know, this is not a case of you jumping into real estate like as a last resort. You have a good career, good job, but you were just thinking forward, thinking legacy, basically.
Absolutely.
And that's amazing. So, and then also from the number of things you do, so you do real estate investing, you started a contract company, right? And you're going for your MBA.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, this is nice. This is nice. So one question I didn't ask you when we were on before, what made you decide to jump into real estate? I know it was a job, or what was that? If you could recap on that.
So I actually was in a few other things before I got into real estate. I was into some form of network marketing things. I was just trying to figure it out at the time. And a family friend introduced me to real estate. They pretty much said, look, I buy houses once a year. I get 10 at a time. I buy them out of the auction. If you save a couple of dollars, I'll show you how to do it. And I saved a couple of dollars. And I bought 2 houses my first year. Just off rip, I bought my first 2 houses for $4,000. And this was back in 2015. So
yes.
This was back before the market really got hot and there was a spotlight on Detroit. So you could get those deals in some of these residential neighborhoods. Now, granted, it wasn't the best houses. It wasn't, top quality, but these were houses that definitely needed some work, but they were livable, but I only paid $2,000 for them. But the sense of being an owner, being able to have some creativity with these houses and bring them back to life and help my community, those combined was I knew this was something I wanted to do because I was passionate about it.
Yes. That's good. That's good. So, man, I wish a lot of people are hoping that this whole pandemic, even though it's, watch for what you wish for, right? But a lot of people are like, oh, I hope the housing market crashes so I can buy. And I'm like, when the housing market crashes, there's a lot more dominoes that fall, right?
Absolutely.
But a lot of people are waiting for that, and I doubt it because, as I said in the last call, housing prices actually went up. My house, the value of my house shot up. It was to the point where, oh man,
Within the last year?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes,
Congrats.
yes, more than 30%.
Congrats.
Yeah. So a lot of people and you might see this. You go online and people are talking about, hey, get into real estate, no money down, or, a lot of stuff. And where it's possible, you just feel like people are not saying, the right stuff. So you got involved. And one of the things I like about you, as you said, you're going for your master's. You went to school for mechanical engineering. You had to take a course to be a licensed contractor. And the whole nine. So you constantly are learning your craft and learning more. And there's a quote that I love that says, I don't know, who said it, but it says, you start by learning, then you take away the L, you earn, right?
Ooh, okay.
You
Okay,
learn,
that's a good one.
then you take away the L. But the
agree.
problem is, and I'll give myself that, and my wife's like, why you keep saying that? Because I say it to myself so that if it ever creeps back, I know to cut it off. Is that I'm that person that does a lot of research and never really pulls the trigger.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
But ain't got no experiences to back them up.
Yeah, so that's what got me going. So you're a part of a mentorship, right? Did you do iFlip University?
I didn't do iFlip University. I got into the program. I actually went on a property field trip. Prior to me actually getting into the program, I was intentional about finding a mentor. So I found my mentor. I went to go find my mentor because I knew at this point where I was at, right? I was 4 years in. I said to myself, the 4 years have been good to me, but I'm looking to grow exponentially. And I know that if I want to get to where I'm trying to go, I need somebody else's help. I can't do it by myself because I've tried it. And yes, I've made progress, but not a lot of progress that I think I would have made, right? So for me, this year I was intentional. I said, I'm going to find me a mentor. So I reached out to about 3 different people before I actually got into the program. They were okay. I mean, they're saying the same generic stuff, but for me, I was looking for a connection. For me, I was looking for a sign. For me, it had to feel right, right? I ran across my mentor, and I didn't join the iFlip University, but I was going to join the iFlip University because I was that eager to make contact, right? But instead, they had a property field trip in Orlando, Florida. I live in Detroit. For me, I don't let anything stop me from going to chase my dreams. If I got to go to Florida to get where I need to get, then I'm going to Florida. So caught a flight, went to Florida, joined the property field trip, and man, it was dope. It was awesome. It was real world. A lot of the stuff, don't get me wrong, a lot of stuff I had already knew. I had a lot of experience already, but it was things, small, different things that kind of made the deal that really would have made it. It was a lot of added value information. Then they took us to real properties with real contractors, so you can really look and see what a deal looks like. What does rehab costs look like? Because people go into some of these houses and they'll be like, it's not gonna cost that much. You don't really know rehab costs. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you go into a house and you think it might cost 10 grand, but you know rehab costs and the details that you have to put in to get an exceptional product. That 10 grand easily be 30 grand, easily 40 grand. So that's kind of how I ran into my mentor.
All right, perfect. So before we get back to the mentor, what are some tips that you would give someone that is like going into a property, maybe it's not to flip, but they're looking to buy their first home or something like that? Like, what are like 3 things you would tell them? Now, let's say 5. 5 things you would tell them to look at when they walk into a house and they're about to, whatever they're going to do with it. Okay.
So, of course, I think the first thing people look at, and we're talking about from this perspective of just like what a good house looks like. Is that correct?
Yeah, you're going in, you have the inspection, but you want to look like, is it the roof, the boiler, like, leaks? What would you say? Yeah.
So start from outside first. I think the key things people like to look at is the bathroom and the kitchen. Of course, that has to look right. But first thing I look at when I look at a house, I look at the windows, I look at the roof, and I look at the structure around it. I look at the foundations. The foundation cracking? Is the house sinking over here? Is there any cracks in the foundation? And then for me, of course, you want to go in and look at the cosmetics, right? It got to look good. I mean, of course, you're going to add your own flavor, but nice floors are pretty good. Floors, you can really change that. But for me, the next thing I will look at is the function, the mechanics, right? The electrical, the plumbing, the HVAC system, right? Because those can cost a lot of money. You can slap some paint on the walls and make it look better, but putting a whole new HVAC system in could be costly. Putting a whole new AC condenser could be costly. So I will look to see if I had a new electrical breaker. Is the plumbing updated? Is it copper or is it galvanized piping? Is it the PEX? Because if you go in and look at the plumbing, right, and you got the galvanized plumbing in, more than likely you're gonna have to change it out eventually, because it's not gonna pressurize, it's gonna rust, it's gonna leak, and you just don't want the headache,
No, that's good. That's good. I know for like like for me, when I bought my property and I was very, very new to it, I looked at the boiler, the roof, the electrical, and the plumbing. And once I saw that, I was like, good. A lot of other stuff I looked at wasn't at the house, but where the house was located.
Yeah.
So I was like really looking at least in Massachusetts and New England, I should say, because I bought in Rhode Island. I bought near a commuter rail stop. So Boston is getting very expensive. So I figured people are gonna have to start moving outwards. So that's why I bought where I'm at. So that's dope. So now, before we get to the mentor, you told me you're working on 2 flips, right?
Yeah.
And you said the first one hasn't gone good at all.
Yeah.
And you said your second one has already sold before the first.
Yeah.
So talk about that. Talk about the first one and maybe what mistakes you made. It's gonna be nice.
So my first flip that I did it last year, April 2019. This is before I had mentorship, right?
Yeah.
This is before I had mentorship. I was doing it all based off of my self-education, right? I didn't have nobody telling me what to do. I was basing these decisions off my own knowledge, right? I bought a house in an undesirable neighborhood, essentially. I bought a house in an undesirable neighborhood. The comps was there, but I think that the neighborhood kind of depreciates the house a bit, right? So for me, that was a lot of the feedback that I got back from a lot of the customers, that the house is nice, the house is beautiful, you made it. Any homeowner want to buy it, but when they go around and see the neighborhood, they don't want to live in that neighborhood, right? Mm-hmm. Because, there might be one too many abandoned houses on the block. There might be some ruckus down the street when they're going to look at the house. And a lot of good people that want to buy homes, they don't want to be involved in that.
Yeah, nah.
So that was some of the... Go ahead.
So is it still vacant? Did you rent it out?
So right now it's vacant. Right now I'm actually working on utilizing another strategy, which is a creative financing strategy. We put it on the market. It's been on the market for about 4 months right now. We've gotten traffic, but nobody put a purchase agreement on it, right? So that's when I went to my mentor. By the way, my mentor is Brian Adams, and I don't know.
Yeah, Brian Adams. Yep. I was gonna bring him up. Yeah, he's a heavyweight.
Oh yeah, heavyweight, big time. But another strategy we're going to use is actually a rent-to-own strategy, right? So because a lot of people, they don't have the means or the credit score or the background to actually go get traditional financing, right? So some people, they actually have enough for down payment, and they can make traditional rent payments toward their mortgage. It's just another creative way to acquire real estate.
Okay, so that's good. So about how much, and not to get into it, but I'm trying to show the difference between having a mentor and not having a mentor, right?
It's costly.
About how much money you think you lost just with that first property?
I think I probably lost 10 grand.
10 grand.
10 to 15 grand.
10 to 15. And how long have you had the house since you bought it? And
I've had the house for a year now.
1 year. All right, perfect. From buying it and go. So the second house with Brian the heavyweight, right? I'll have you talk about him soon. How long have you had that house for? Like from the time you bought it and sold it?
I had that house for about 6 months.
6 months. All right.
6 months.
All right. So talk about that deal.
Okay. So before I got into the mentorship, I bought this house as well too. But I kind of got smarter. I figured that, that last deal wasn't as good as it should have been. So let me get smarter. That's when I kind of started re-educating myself, and I knew I needed a mentor. Ryan came in halfway through. He came in like when I started the rehab, he was there kind of coaching me, making sure I knew what I was doing. So I bought this house in a better neighborhood, essentially. I bought a house that needed some work. I got a good deal on it. It wasn't the best neighborhood, but it was a better neighborhood. A lot of brick houses on the block. You could tell that it wasn't a lot of people didn't come outside. So I guess that, people like to see that. I guess that's a good neighborhood.
That is true.
And then it was right next to Dearborn, right? So it was Dearborn was across the street, which is a better city, which I can't use any comps from over there. But it was a nicer home. It was a brick colonial home, 3-bedroom, 1 in the bath, one half bath, and it really just needed some love, right? I knew that if I got this house, I got the house at 45, and I put 25 into it, right? I was in the deal for about 70 all in. I had a comp on the market that sold at 112, and I knew I could get 112, right? That was my mark. I'm like, if I sell it for 112, this is what my profit margin is gonna be, because if I try to sell it for one, it gotta depreciate, right? So this comes in on a story where we finished the rehab, right? Put 25,000 into it, made it beautiful, made it like beautiful. We got 5 offers on it within 5 days, above asking price, and when we went to go get it appraised, it came in below asking price. So I listed the house for 115. I had an offer on it for 118. I lost 10 grand overnight because it only appraised at 108.
Wow.
Yep.
So was that something that you could, if you had known, you could have worked on, or was that just how it worked? Because how was the comp able to come in higher or not? And and let me just say something for the people watching. When we say comp, is basically a house similar to it that sold recently. So that's how they get values. They don't look at, oh, this is my mom's house and it means so much to me, so it's $1 million. No, they don't care. They look at how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, square footage, and then they go and they look at a house that's similar that has sold, not that's listed, because people could list the house forever. So when he said comp, he saw a house that was similar to his that sold for 112. So continue.
Yep. So that a house appraised for 108, 4,000 below the comp because it was a bit smaller. So the square footage kind of what knocked me down, but it was like for like. Colonial house, 3-bedroom, 1 bath, 3 beds up, same basement. Like that was the comp from out of that program. That was kind of how I was able to be more strategic with my budgets, right? And understand what type of rehab that I needed to do based off of the comps, right? Before, I probably would have got in there and spent 35,000, to be honest with you, thinking that I would have had to make it of this caliber of quality to exceed the value of the property, but you can't exceed the comp, right?
No. So
getting that insight out of the program kind of shifted how I was going about the project. Like I got interior designers and they were trying to put like custom stuff in the house. And I'm like, no. I just got out of this program. That does not make sense. Change it all the way around. So I was able to come in at 25,000, get it sold. We're gonna sell it at 108. I'm looking to profit between 20, 25,000. I haven't got the balance sheet back of what I'll be making, but somewhere between there.
Okay, no, that's good. So the rehab took about 5 months.
It didn't, right? So the rehab, we acquired the house in August. We acquired the house in August. I still had Littlefield, which was the property that I didn't sell, right? So I was trying to sell that one to get the money to invest in this one, right? So I didn't use a hard money lender this time around. I used a line of credit to work on my projects because it was a cheaper interest rate, you know, and the carrying costs are way lower, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I bought the house. I was trying to sell Littlefield, so I didn't start the project until February of this year.
Okay, makes sense.
Because it was winter time, you know, and I was in my head before I had the education and the knowledge, I was telling myself, you should start it around February because when you finish, and by the time you finish, it'll be April, which will be the buyer season. You can sell a house.
You never know. You don't know if COVID can happen, right?
Yeah, right. So that was my methodology behind it. But like going through this mentorship program is like, no, get it done, put it on the market. Somebody gonna buy it if it makes sense. If the comp is there, the value is there, somebody's gonna buy it.
All right, perfect. So before I go to the next question, when he talks about the mentorship, he's talking about I call a heavyweight, a giant, a very good man, Brian Adamson. He has an apprenticeship, which DB, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, DB took, and then he also has iFlip University that really he just has courses that he already laid out. You can go in, watch them, and it teaches you piece by piece, remote flipping. So in actuality, I think it was one of his apprentice, but the same information he teaches in his courses, lived in Europe and bought a house in America, started the rehab before he actually saw the property with his own eyes. So it's so if you go to my profile, to my link, I do, my wife put it up so you could get more information about iFlip, and then from there you could contact them about the apprenticeship. So that's awesome. Or if you want to do the apprenticeship, hit up DB. I'm sure you could tell them to get them to the right people, right?
Oh yeah, I can give them a lot of insight, a lot of quality information, and really tell them like exactly how the program is and like the value that I've gotten from it.
All right, perfect. So also what I noticed is you have like your own little program that people could schedule to sit down, talk to you, and get some information. I found a way to do it for free, right?
Okay, right. You just scammed me.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about that. So like if someone schedules with you, what are they getting?
So if someone schedules an appointment with me, they're getting an hour of time. It's an open platform. I ask people to bring questions. For me, I'm an open book. I'm giving them all of the information, all of my failure, all of my successes, all of my experiences, and I'm trying to teach them. I'm more so working with people that aren't confident in themselves and don't really know where to start, don't really have the inspiration to start, but they want to do it, right? So I'm kind of empowering a lot of people to say, like, it's not as hard as you think it is, right? I made a post about that. Like, you think it's hard until you actually do it, and it's done. You're like, that wasn't as hard as I thought it was. So in a lot of my calls, I'm just really giving a lot of insight about how I was able to buy a house on credit card, how I got a mentor and I felt like the mentor added value to me. You know, really just my real estate journey to help people. I'm trying to help people not make the same mistakes that I made. You know, to be honest, I feel like if I had a mentorship 3 years ago when I first started, I'd be a millionaire by now. Straight, completely honest.
That's good. No, that's good because a lot of people, and rightfully so, you have so many people out there that claim to be experts in fields that they're not, and people get caught up, and understandably because like my stronghold is more on first-time home buying. Like you hit me up about buying your first home and whatnot, I got all the information for you. About investing and flipping and stuff like that, I'm learning myself. So people would actually, because of this platform, hit me up and ask me about that. And if I was a bad person, I could just, you know, get a book and then give it to them. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not that type of person. But if you hit me up about, hey, man, I need to get my budget in order, I'll break it down for you because I have the experience, I read about it and whatnot. So rightfully so, people are nervous, but it's always good when you see people like, you know, Brian or this other guy, Mike. He's called Mogul Mike from Columbus, Ohio. Amazing dude. He's only been in the game for it was definitely less than 5 years, and he's working on a 100-unit development right now.
Nice.
But he's one of those guys that just goes, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's good to see people like that are willing to give information. But on the flip side, people have to understand also, these guys are very, very busy. So if you're asking them to be a mentor, you like they can't just do it just out of like, you know, just like that. So there is some cost, but that cost, like DB just told you, without a mentor, he lost 10 grand. We're not talking about maybe he could have, with the mentor, he could have probably bought the house for even a little cheaper, right? Absolutely. Or maybe you fixed the house, you spent too much money fixing the house in the first place. So just off of one property, you lost 10 grand that I'm sure Brian would have told you, nah. You know what I'm saying?
And it hasn't been sold yet.
Yeah, right.
So instead of sale, like I could lose 20 grand to listen, but I know I'm projected to lose 10 easily. 10, okay. So that, well, losing the money's not, you know, not good. But now that you know,
that's a lot better. So, in your information,
Yeah.
it's COVID right now. Interest rates are very low for first time home buyers, right? Or if you're refining without a cash out, it's doing very well. Prices, depending where you are going up. New England, where I'm at, to just give you how we are out here, you buy a 3-family home in Boston, you're spending anywhere from $800,000 and up.
Easily.
So me and my wife is looking for our property in Boston, our next property, and if I see a house for $800,000, I'm like, man, that's a deal.
That's a deal. That's a deal out there.
That's a deal.
Two totally different markets.
Exactly.
Totally different markets.
So people have to understand. But on the flip side, the reason why it's good for me is 1 floor will rent for like anywhere from $2,500 to $2,800 a month.
Okay.
And rent. You know what I'm saying? So just knowing that information, So that's good. So like, what else? Like, what other advice would you give people looking to get into real estate now that you're newer into it? You experience doing it on your own, your experience with a mentor. Like, what other advice would you give someone that's on here? Like, man, I really want to get into real estate. Is now a good time? Whatnot. The floor is yours.
I think right now is a good time. I think every time is a good time. I think you should get into real estate, learn the strategies, right? There's a lot of different strategies for you to make money. Some people, I mean, the glitz and the glamour is flips, right? We all are drawn to flipping the houses. We see it on HGTV. That's what we want to do, right? So that's not the only way you can make money, though. You can make money wholesaling. You can make money creative financing. You can make money buying and hold. You can make money flips. So it's a lot of different ways that you can make money. So that's why I always say educate yourself on the strategies, because if you know the strategies, then you're not going to worry about what's happening in the market. You're going to make money in any market. Right now, you need to, when you're doing flips, you want to flip in better areas, right? You want to flip when there's a good ARVs, but let's say if the economy go down, right? Are people still going to be flipping? Because it might not be a lot of buyers out there, but if you know how to do wholesaling now, if you became knowledgeable in wholesaling, now you don't have to worry about making money with flipping. You can make money wholesaling as well. So for me, I started out, I bought a couple rentals at first, right? I bought a rental to fix them up. I learned how the rental game worked. I learned how to have tenants. I did it. I had 3 properties renting. I set up a property management person to manage all my properties. And once I got good at that, it was now time for me to move on to the next thing. Then I started flipping houses. I'm like, okay, I like flipping houses. I got some systems. I got people in place. I got a team, right? I might have visited my property 2 times the flip I just sold, right? So I got a team where I don't have to show up. I got process in place. I got people that know their roles and responsibilities. So now I can move on to wholesaling, right? Now I can move on to wholesaling to keep generating some more income. So for me, I will always tell people, and I'm going to always keep going back to it, educate yourself, and get around like-minded individuals that doing what you want to do, right? Because that's going to inspire you. That's going to motivate you. And if you can, go get you a mentor. Your mentor, you either going to pay for it by making mistakes, or you're going to pay him to help you not make the mistakes, or her to not make the mistakes. Either way, you're going to pay.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to pay.
You're definitely going to pay. So a few times during this interview, and rightfully so, you said you got to educate yourself. Like I said, you learn, then you scratch that L out and you earn, right? You learn.
You stop taking the L's.
Then you remove that. Exactly. Once you learn, you remove the L's, right? And then you're going to earn. Yeah. So what are some books you would recommend people to read? I'll give you a few ones that I think are good, but I want to hear what you think. What are some books? 3 books.
I like to focus on a lot of mentality books. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm more so like changing my mindset books, changing how I think books, and then business books. But Think and Grow Rich, I think it's called a Black Choice. They got like a black version of Think and Grow Rich.
Oh, I never heard that one. The Black Choice.
Yeah, it's something like Black Choice. I'm not sure exactly what it is.
You're gonna have to DM me that, because I'm gonna put a list together and I'll put that on my website for everybody else. Yep. that's good. Did you read it yourself and it's a good book?
And the audiobook, yep, it's a great book.
All right then, because some people are like, you got to read this book because it's black, and then I read it and be like, man, come on, man.
So it's just like Think and Grow Rich, but just on a black perspective. Like they're highlighting black millionaires, the people that are successful, the black people.
Okay. Like I like that. All right, then let me know. I definitely want to get that. Yeah. So so the black choice, but you're gonna correct that. Think and Grow Rich, and another one.
Yep. Rich Dad Poor Dad.
That's like the Bible.
It's easy. And then A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. I can't pronounce his name for nothing, but it's called A New Earth. And it talks about the mentality. It talks about the ego, right? You don't even know your ego is running your life, but when you read this book, you're going to start to understand that was my ego making that decision. If I take my ego out of it, I'll be more successful.
Oh, okay. Now, hey, y'all need to put some hearts out for that one. That was some good information. So the books that really like impact, because I've read a lot, and I'm not gonna rename the ones you named because obviously Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad Poor Dad, The Compound Effect by Darren Harden.
Okay.
Yes, that's very.
The Compound Effect.
That one, oh man, is very good. The Richest Man in Babylon is a must read.
I've got that book, but I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, man, people were telling me for years about The Richest Man in Babylon, and I didn't. And once you read it, it's like Think and Grow Rich. All these other books, like, just build on their theory because they break it down. Okay, remember, it's about before Christ, right? Babylon time, and the same problems they go through, we're going through. So it basically strips away all the extra stuff. Very good book. So the richest Man in Babylon, The Compound Effect. And there's another book, especially for people, The Millionaire Next Door. Yes, my friend. Wealthy V, yeah, she's right. That's a good one. There's one that I'm listening to right now that's very good. The Millionaire Real Estate Investor. Okay. That breaks down everything. It gives you sheets on how to do your budgeting and the whole nine. Okay. And for people out there that are like, if you're looking in sales, like I know V, her husband and her husband are starting a restaurant. They're gonna Go for No. It's a quick read, nice and simple. It says Go for No.
Yeah, I read that book.
Go for No?
I read that book, and I tell people to this day, we want to get as many no's as we can. Don't tell me how many yeses you got. I want to hear how many no's you got. It's excellent strategy.
Man, it really mind blowing. Just like go for no, like just how you think about stuff is it's amazing. You know what I'm saying? So and one thing I always tell people are like real caught up. Like, man, I don't really want to own a house or whatnot. And I feel like before you go and buy a property, you need to be comfortable. But what I like to tell people is that, man,
what's comfortable though?
I don't know. I think it's the fear, as you said, it's the knowledge. Like people are like, well, I don't want to deal with tenants. And I tell them, there's some cases where people live in houses, multifamily houses, and their tenants don't even know they own the house because they have property managers dealing with it. So there's different ways. But also, for one thing for me is I feel like especially, and I like doing this content for everybody, right? Yeah. But as black males in our community, we have to think legacy. Absolutely. And the way, and most people, the Vanderbilts, the Rockefellers, Trump, whoever you want, Obama, all of them, when people come across, when they start getting wealth, they always get into real estate because it's something that, nothing is guaranteed, but it holds value. And I feel as a community, we need to work, towards, a legacy. And they are like, so like in my state, you could buy a $250,000 house with no money down. Okay. Because they give you $7,500 at closing.
Oh, that's nice.
You see what I'm saying? And for everyone listening, in Rhode Island, if you buy in Rhode Island and you're a first-time home buyer, they give you, or it's a no-interest loan. So if you own the house for 100 years, you don't have to pay it back.
You gotta own it for 100 years, though?
No. I'm just giving. If you own it for 3 years, or if you own it for 100 years, you don't have to pay it back until you sell it.
Okay.
So, yeah, they're just saying when you sell it, this part of it they need back. But it's a good way for people to get started. My whole thing is, if your rent is as high as a mortgage, you should own a property.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I even think that like I don't like right now, I don't even own I do own my own house right now, but I live with my mom's. Like I didn't even go out and buy my own crib. I bought 14 cribs before I bought my own crib to live in. You know, it was just a strategy right now where I'm in my life that I could still live like this and make money and put the money towards making more money. So absolutely. Real estate, I don't think you can go wrong with real estate, to be honest.
And as you said, once you educate yourself, you're gonna be it. You always have risks, but you limit your risk because you're educating yourself. So you have the information you need. Calculated risk, which is always good. So, all right. So you talked about that first property. So tell me, what do you have planned going forward? So you sold one property. It just sold. I'm guessing in the last few days or something, huh?
Nope, it hasn't sold yet.
Not the first one.
Nope, not the first one, but we've had a contract for the other one for about 30 days right now. We're still waiting to go to closing. With the market and the COVID and the new regulations, they're kind of pushing our closing back 2 weeks now. So hopefully 2 weeks. I just talked to the buyer. You know, they're still confident they want to buy it, so I'm feeling good about it.
Perfect. So what do you got next? What do you got planned for next?
So my next strategy is to figure out other creative ways to make money, right, without using a lot of capital. I saw a friend of mine. His name is Lonzy Rattler. He joined the group. He's an excellent creative finance guy. That's my mentor for creative financing. Right now, I get mentors in everything that I want to do. Like, I'm not going to do nothing that I don't have a mentor that's going to help me where I'm trying to go.
I hear you, yeah.
But I'm looking to leverage creative financing to acquire these properties with less debt, right? Because that's essentially what you're doing when you're putting a mortgage on it. That's debt. Not saying that there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just better ways to do things, right? There's more efficient ways to do things. So I'm working on that side of the business, and I recently just launched my wholesaling business. For a second. And I recently just launched my wholesaling business where I'm looking to now, I've hired 2 employees. I've set all my systems in place. I put all my automated processes in place. We got everything up and flowing. We're looking to start calling people come tomorrow. So for me, I'm looking to create more streams of income, right? I can create more streams of income with my wholesaling side of the business. I can create another stream with my creative financing side of the business. Through that process, I'm funneling deals to myself through the wholesaling process, and I'll be able to cherry pick the properties that I want, you know, that I want to flip, right? That I want to make the 40 to 30 to 50 grand on. I'm setting up a system, which is the wholesaling platform, to be able to funnel deals through me, and the ones that I don't want, I'll sell them to an investor, right? So it's an ecosystem, right? I'm buying the houses, I'm fixing them up, I got my team with me. So for me, that's the strategy.
Okay, no, that's what's up. All right then. So before we end this interview, is there anything you want to, tell the people before I give my last question? And you probably know the last question already, because Brian.
Yeah, I jumped in on the last one. I would say that if you're interested in getting in real estate, start now. Do it right now. Learn as much as you can. Get a mentor. I feel like getting a mentor, and I'm gonna always put on for Brian Adamson because that's my mentor, and I can tell you a lot of value that he's brought to me in my life and my career as a real estate investor. But it doesn't have to be Brian. Go find somebody that you trust that's gonna give you the game, that's gonna help you become a better investor, because that's really what it's about. It's about building that bridge. That's why I give those coaching calls, is to help people get to the next step, right? To get to where I'm at, because I'm trying to get to where Brian's at, and I'm pretty sure Brian's trying to get to where somebody's at over him, right? So we can't do it alone, right? We have to have that form of collaboration and be able to trust people. I feel like some people are afraid of like putting their trust in people because there's so many scams out here, right? There's so many people getting over on you or giving you a fluff amount of information and not giving you a lot of value added systems. But do your due diligence and just pull the trigger. Like you say, don't have analysis paralysis. Learn as much as you can. take calculated risk, and I promise you, you might make a couple mistakes. You can't get through this unscathed, right? You can't get through this real estate investing without taking some losses. Like even Brian will tell you, you know, he took a massive loss. You know, I'm talking about a $10,000 loss. He took a $500,000 loss and was still able to bounce back. You know, so don't be afraid to make mistakes. I feel like me as an investor, I'm looking to make as many mistakes as I can, you know, so I can get it right.
Nah, you know, you're right. The only way, a lot of people think that they're in the middle, and then there's success on this side, and then there's failure.
Yeah.
But actually, it's you, failure, then success. The only way you could get to success is by going through failure, you know, by bouncing and whatnot. And Brian, and just to recap, who he's talking about is Brian Adamson. He has the course iFlip University, and he has an apprenticeship. If you want to know about iFlip University, there's more. If you go to my profile, click on the link. I put up a link there so you can get some information about it, and you could contact them about the apprenticeship program, or you could talk to DB directly. He's actually in the program, so he can give you some insights about it, and really, you know, if that's what you want to do. Some other ways, some other creative ways, like you want to do, if you know someone that's in real estate, what I say, add some value to them, help them out. Like go and try to help them find some deals, go and help them with their accounting, go and help them, you know, some landscaping, and they will pour into you. These people love, like people like, but you have to add value to them. Don't think that you're just gonna call them and they're gonna just sit down for 2 hours of coffee and break down everything for you. No, if you add value to them, they're gonna add value to you. So that's always there. Someone asked, I don't know, but they asked about what do you think of some guy, and we're not trying to go in depth about one person, but Tony the Closer. I don't know who that is.
Okay. I'm familiar with Tony the Closer, but I don't know him personally. I haven't interacted with him. I follow his Instagram. It seems like he's doing some incredible things, and he's impacting people's lives based off of the image that social media portrays. But I don't know him that well, to be honest.
That's it, yeah. And a lot of times with this stuff, it's like there's a lot of information out there, a lot of people that do it. It's your connection with them. That's it, you know. Yeah, you want to connect with the person. And
it's easier, man.
It's a lot easier. A lot easier. You vibe, and then you want to pick a niche. Like not everybody's like DB. DB's into flipping, buying holes, wholesaling, the whole nine. What you might want to do is pick a niche. Like if you want to flip, or if you want to buy and hold. So for me, I want to get into flipping primarily to get capital for buying holes. Like that's what I want. I want buying holes, and then anything else I do is to build a portfolio. I want to have a large, a large portfolio. Maybe one day I sell them all to buy apartment buildings. But that's my, that's me. That's the niche I want to get into.
That's good.
But I am going to get into flipping and whatnot to build capital for them.
Okay, so think about it like this, right? My wholesaling business, it funnels me those deals, those buy and hold deals, and those flips.
That is true.
And if you think about it like this, you can get, to me, the best properties with the most profit margins are the ones you go find. And that's through the wholesaling platform. Like, don't get me wrong, there's some good deals out here, but if you want them, to me, from my experience, if you want them incredible deals, them are the deals that you're going to get, because if you think about it, if somebody's bringing that deal to you, they've already added their fee on top of it.
Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah, that's true.
So that's kind of like, I'm only just giving you insight because my goal is to do the exact same thing you just said. Right.
Okay. Yeah. No, and I wasn't talking you down. It's just that some people. Oh yeah. Okay, good. Because I know my guy, Mogul Mike. He does it all, and as I said, he's good at it. He's doing 100-unit development. Like that's all. You gotta follow him, man. He's not like he doesn't have courses, or he's not as he would say, he's not Instagram savvy.
Yeah.
But he's producing, right? So yeah, I'm actually gonna head down there, visit him you know, follow him for a week and whatnot. We really kicked it off, and he said I could come out. I might come to Detroit so you can show me how you set that whole wholesaling, because I'm all about systems. So if I could build a system, that's something I may do up north. Might be a little, you know, and see if I can get that done. So that'll be amazing. So if anyone, if you have any questions, right now is the time to throw that out there. But while I'm waiting on that, I'll ask you the question, right?
Yeah.
When you eat cereal, what goes into the bowl first, cereal or milk?
Cereal for sure.
Cereal?
Cereal for sure. It's just, you got to get the right amount of milk to a cereal ratio, right? So you could pour too much milk into the bowl or not enough milk into the bowl and have too much cereal. For me, I get the right amount of mixture when I pour my cereal first and I come over top with the milk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, me too. Yo, that's me. One person was trying, and I forget, they were trying to school me that what they do is they pour their milk because they don't like soggy cereal. So they pour milk and then they throw a little cereal, then they eat. Then when they're done, they throw a little more cereal, they eat. And I'm like, you know, you have a science to it, but it might make sense.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
Do you put ice in your milk?
No.
No?
No ice.
You're missing out. I'm
See,
telling
like,
you.
Me, I cut, I cut dairy. So I don't eat like, not totally, because certain things, like people cook cake or something like that, but I don't buy like a gallon of like milk or eggs, red meat, pork, like even chicken I'm trying to wean off of. So I don't really drink milk.
I don't know if I told you, but I don't eat milk. I don't drink milk or eat meat.
Oh really? Oh, okay, okay. You don't? Yeah, I'm trying to wean off of it. I still do the fish, chicken. I feel like, because I grew up in I don't know if you can see this. This is the country of Guyana. I grew up there in South America. Okay. When I go back there, there's some meat I gotta eat because it just tastes different, right? It hits different, right?
It ain't the same.
It's just fresh. I don't know. I just certain things I gotta eat. And my and if you saw Well TV, she was on there. Her husband is starting a restaurant, and I bought some food from him. And and I was like, man, I can't have chicken. And then I saw I was gonna give the plate to someone else. I just wanted to support. But when I saw that food, I had to eat it the other day. So he caught me with the chicken. Yeah. It's island style. But man, it was amazing talking to you. Thank you very much. People, go and follow him. If you have any questions, he has a whole system together where you could get those answered. If you have any questions about iFlip University, go to my profile, click on the link, and then you can get all of the information there. If you have questions about the apprenticeship program, definitely go and speak to my boy. He could tell you, and he could tell you firsthand. And one thing I'll tell you is, don't get me wrong, like just the little bit I know about Brian and just watching him, he knows his stuff. But you want to feel comfortable also, and do your research. You know what I'm saying? But you want to find people that Brian hits all the boxes. He's doing it, right? It's not that he's just teaching the class. He's in the middle of it. He goes into the field with you, or you could go in the field with him and see actually. He's been doing it for years. He's made money. He has lost money, so he knows what's going on, right? You don't want someone that's always winning, because that's a lie, right?
Right.
Or whatnot.
You ain't never took a loss? Come on.
Nah, not at all. That means you never learned, right? Because you never have an L. If you don't have an L, you never learned anything, right?
Absolutely.
So, but definitely. So definitely go follow me. But what I want, and I don't get a lot of, I want people to tell me what you want me to talk about. What are some topics you want me to hit on or get into? I think I want to bring some real estate agents on, just talking about that, like the different stuff. I see my boy Mark Joseph is on there. He's deep and he knows his stuff. I might bring him on, ask some real estate questions. But if there's any like topics, areas of real estate, budgeting, entrepreneurship that you want me to interview someone, or just questions you want me to answer, let me know. All right?
That's good.
Talk to y'all soon. Thank you for jumping on. Sorry for the technical difficulties earlier, but we got this. I am hot. I need to get an AC unit. But all right, then I'll see you, man.
All right, family. Peace.